Hey, so, okay, not even the car wanted to see this movie. I still don't know how to talk about movies on the midnight screenings when I'm not in the car. What did I see again? Some Huntsman shit?
We did see The Huntsman.
The Huntsman, Winter's War.
Released in
April. We really should have released this when it was very cold outside. Very disappointed by that. So you never saw the first one?
No, I never saw it.
Well, were you confused at all during this movie?
Well, they set up the exposition right in the beginning.
By they, you mean Liam Neeson.
That was Liam Neeson?
Yeah.
What?
Like, I want to follow the story about the narrator, because he's probably killing way more people than anyone else in this movie. They kidnapped his daughter and forced him to narrate this movie.
Yeah.
That would honestly be way better than any of the Taken sequels.
Oh, glad I never saw the other two.
Oh, so good.
Oh, I'm missing
They're the
out.
hangover sequels of revenge movies. Right? This movie, I liked the first one, honestly. I mean, I haven't seen it since it came out, which was like 3 or 4 years ago. And I was hungover when I watched it. But I remember giving it a really positive review. I haven't seen it since. And not saying that I would necessarily be against there being a sequel to Snow White and the Huntsman, because this is both. It's a prequel and it's a sequel. The first half hour, maybe, of it is a prequel.
Yeah, I could say. Yeah, I kind of like when I was like, I feel like I guess this is a prequel and a sequel, so.
It seems like it was just contractually they had to make a sequel. I guess that's what this feels like, because it feels like probably whatever synopsis for a sequel that existed was heavily changed due to the fact that Snow White is not in this movie.
We got a
Sort
awesome Kristen Stewart stand-in, just her backside, like with the mirror.
My God. So there's a lot of that in this movie. There's one shot where it's what you just said.
Yeah, Kristen
where
Stewart's like, she's like kneeling in front of the mirror and she's just like freaking out.
I totally believe that's Kristen Stewart,
hell
you guys. You're really fooling me here. But then she keeps being referenced because they're talking about...
Yeah, I was gonna say, we should play the Snow White drinking game every time they say Snow White.
She's been replaced by Lloyd's ass.
Yes.
Come here, bub. You want out? Lloyd likes leaving during movies. Well, it's up to you, buddy. If you want to, you got, like, crimes and cases to solve. So... It's now Snow White's kingdom, so she is constantly being referenced, but she's not in the movie. So you have characters who come up to Chris Hemsworth to say things like, well, Snow White said this, Snow White sent us, Snow White says you need to go and get the mirror, because the mirror has been stolen by Freya.
The mirror looks like a giant symbol. It doesn't even look like a mirror.
It looked like it did in the first one. Yeah, it did, yeah. Snow White's lucky drum set is... A piece of it's been stolen, and it just hasn't been... The band's just not the same without it.
Like I said, I never saw the first one. It's like, that's what it looked like in the first one. It
Yeah.
was like just a giant fucking symbol.
Yeah, and like, when, like, the voice of the mirror comes out of it and looks just, like, gold draped and shit like that, and the same voice, too, like... All of that was in the first one. But they're saying stuff in this movie, like when Charlize Theron comes back, and she's like, I'm gonna find Snow White and cut her heart out.
Great, we get to see that?
No, like, and there's no intensity there, because it's like, I know she's not in this movie. And since you only showed her from the backside in one scene...
We did see a flashback at the beginning exposition. We got to see a little bit of Kristen Stewart.
A little, like... I couldn't tell if that was her or if it was another stand-in, because it was a little blurry. Like, it had her in the armor, and it was like that battle scene from the first one, but I couldn't tell if... Did they just put another actress in that arm? Because it was really shaky, it was a little blurry, but I don't know, maybe it was her.
She was off filming American Ultra, that's probably why they couldn't get her.
Or On the Road, or that other movie that she did.
Yeah, that.
I don't have anything against Kristen Stewart.
Neither do I, except for Twilight.
Well, yeah, of course, but like, that wasn't. I'm not gonna say
Yeah.
that was her fault.
I was gonna say,
like,
yeah, it's more of the director's fault.
or it's the source material on that.
Oh,
Most other things I've seen her in, I've liked her just fine. I liked her in Snow White and the Huntsman. I would have liked it if she was in this movie. This movie is written like it really wanted her to be in this movie. The cats are in this video more than Snow White
yeah, I
is in
know.
this
What
movie.
the hell?
Go on, Chloe. That would be really weird if this was happening in like the car videos. Lloyd,
How'd you get here?
how did you get in here, Lloyd? I'm really surprised you didn't make a lot of noise until filming the. That means you were in this car for a long time. Other than. So that's distracting. The fact that they have to basically describe things to the character to make up that Snow White's not in it. From everything from, like, Snow White's in really bad shape. The mirror is really screwing with her. That would be nice to see that.
Oh, I know. Well, we got to see we got to see her, like, breaking down in front of him and just screaming for, like, 2 or 3 seconds.
Oh, yeah, like a good 5 seconds or something like that. So, basically the movie is, when it's a prequel, it's setting up the backstory for the Huntsman. Sure, I mean, I didn't really wonder about that, and the first one kind of gave us all the information we needed about him. So it's setting up his backstory, and also Freya, who's Emily Blunt,
Oh, that was Emily Blunt?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
And it's setting up her story where she, for 80% of it, is the villain of the movie. She loses her baby because it's set on fire.
Yeah, charred baby.
They
I leaned over and I was like, dude, they set that baby on fucking fire.
Wow, this is
Intense.
going into dark Sigourney Weaver Snow White territory. We're setting babies on fire in the first 5 minutes. PG-13, motherfucker.
I should have showed it happening. No, that's just tasteless.
Right? Oh, I would've been
R-rated cut.
so offended.
They'll show it in the R-rated cut, don't worry.
Zack Snyder's R-rated cut of the Huntsman Winter's War. So Freya, like, because she loses her child to fire, this makes her an ice queen. And she goes off and starts her own ice fortress of Icitude kingdom, and she kidnaps children and turns them into her soldiers, and that's where the Huntsman comes from. And she, goddammit, outlaws fucking love in this town.
Fuck love, by the way.
Mm-hmm.
Love will never conquer all. Oh, but apparently it does.
Love will never conquer ice.
Melcher, I can't fucking do this. Like your Melcher icy heart
With a cool island song.
Melcher hot heart with, or is it the other way around?
With a hot island song. That's what they should have done.
Yeah.
It should be really easy to defeat this woman.
For the longest time, I think like near the end of the movie, I was like, oh hey, Charlize Theron's still in this movie. Like, I thought they just totally forgot that character. I was like, man, they put her up on top billing and she's only in it for like 10, 15 minutes.
She's in it for like the first 5 or 10 minutes, and then in the last act of the movie. I knew she was coming back because of the stuff I saw. I saw of her in the trailer. Same with Jessica Chastain. They make you believe that she's dead at one point, but of course she comes back, and she and Hemsworth are good together. Given that so many actors are probably in this movie just for contractual reasons, the performances are fine.
Yeah, it was alright. I know the dwarfs were kind of silly in comic relief, but I like the dwarfs. Really.
They were funny, yeah. Nick Frost, they have some good back and forths. This isn't a bad film.
No, it was It wasn't bad, it wasn't good. It was a movie.
It was a thing that I saw, and it didn't... I know I said this last week about the Jungle Book, where I said, like, I don't know how necessary this is. That feels more necessary than this movie. This movie, sitting there, I'm like, not that this movie is bad, but there's so many... It's reminding me of so many other things that I would rather watch. I would rather watch, like, Willow, or I'd rather watch Snow White and the Huntsman.
Krull!
Or, like Lucio Fulci's Conquest or something like that. Like, I would rather watch so many other things because this movie hits on so many similar notes of all those other movies, because here you have this group of fighters, these warriors, our heroes, and their mission is to travel through the land to the castle to defeat an evil queen. I've seen this in better movies. This isn't the worst example of this kind of movie, but it doesn't rise above being mediocre in the slightest. Like, here we go again. They're walking through the woods. They're going to camp out. They're going to find some more characters. There's really questionable CGI that they meet along the way.
Yeah, especially with, like, that bull gorilla dude thing.
That thing that it was like, I saw Danny McBride fight this in Your Highness. He's gonna have a big old dick between his legs. Yeah, I'm looking at that creature, like, you're telling me this looks better than if you just put someone in makeup, like Your Highness did. This thing looks ridiculous. I mean, that's a ridiculous scene anyway, because they have to cross this bridge of, like, melted gold or some shit like that.
I was gonna ask you, sorry, I just need to put this in. What was with all the, well, I was gonna say what's with all the tar, but then I realized that the gold is, like, her, I guess it's what is, it's the mirror that fills all the gold, but then all that tar, like, that
gold melted tar that they cross this bridge. I mean, it's an interesting image to look at, but there's really stupid shit that goes on. There's, like, they're chasing, these bull creatures are chasing Chris Hemsworth, and instead of just running across this bridge and cutting it on the other side, he cuts it on the side that he's on, and then fights them. Jessica Chastain saves his ass, and then somehow, I'm not sure how,
he survived.
Well, I mean, that, I understand that, but, like, somehow he made it to the other side of the molten lava gold shit. He's just magically somehow got on the other side of it. Like, did he jump? Did he... Alright, well
he just transported, you know. It's this fantasy. He could transport.
This is true. There is people who turn into gold birds in this movie. Maybe the Huntsman has some, like, teleportation powers that I'm not aware of. That'll be the next movie.
Yeah, you make that happen.
A prequel to the prequel, where we find out how he crossed this gold river.
And how he fucking survived all of that flaming, burnt tar. It's like, man, if this were, like, more realistic, like Game of Thrones style, his ass would be fucking dead.
Oh, we would see his ass plenty of times.
But, you know, he has to, because he's the main character. He has to survive.
Chris Hemsworth is great in this movie.
He is.
I love, goddamn, Chris Hemsworth, when he's in a lot of movies outside of playing
Marvel.
Thor, yeah, he's just given this, like, C+ material to work with most of the time, and he makes the most. I love Chris Hemsworth. Chris Hemsworth can make you invest in a character that's really not that good of a movie. Between this, he's great in The Heart of the Sea. He's really good in Black Hat. Movies that aren't that good, but he's got this, like, old Hollywood quality about him. Like, he's charismatic as fuck. Like, if he played Robin Hood in something, it'd be great. It'd be like, oh wow, like Errol Flynn is back. Like, he's this kind of classic old Hollywood style actor, and he's got fucking charisma and charm to spare, and he does in this movie too. Fuck, man, it's like, I want to play Robin Hood in something, or hell, he could do James Bond if he wanted.
Oh, yeah.
I would watch the fuck out of that. I mean, of course, it's James Bond, so I'll watch it regardless of who's playing him. And he's good here, too. I mean, Charlize Theron is great at...
She's my favorite part.
She's the best part of the first one, too. She's given a lot more fun stuff to do in the first movie, but she's in the first movie a lot more than she's in this one. In this one, she's good because it's her, and she's got those evil eyes, and she's camping it up a bit, but...
She even does...
She does, yeah. She does stuff like that. She did a lot more in the first one, but here, like, yeah, it's cool. She's throwing out these tar spears and shit, and she's hamming it up the best she can. The material... Her being good is just all dependent on the fact that she's really good at being over the top. Like, they don't really give her as much outlandish shit to do. Like in the first one, she's like eating like bird innards and shit like that, and she's intense as shit in the first movie. And in this one, she's fine. She's good because she's played the character before and she does a good job at it. I mean, they set it up for another sequel at the end.
Yeah,
Get that trilogy going.
I know, I was kind of like, oh my god, they're doing...
like, we're doing... She survived as a gold bird at the end.
No, they're like, some fairy tales are still... Or what did they say at the end? It's like, some fairy tales aren't finished?
Some fairy tales aren't finished. Something like that.
And then, like, gold metallic... Or gold bird...
Some have happy endings.
Oh,
when
yeah.
You shoot a man in the face. He's going off on a tangent. He's describing a different movie. Can we talk about the CGI animals?
Yeah, I was about to bring that up. I was like, "This dude, what's all?" It's like there's like little like turtles with like moss on them. Then there's like those little like naked asexual like nymph things. And like everything, like even the fucking squirrels are CGI. Like
that was
birds. Like it.
That looked ridiculous. There is a part where there's these squirrels on a tree.
Yeah.
And it looks like the Nut Job. It looks as realistic as Will Arnett in The Nut Job or something like from Over the Hedge. It looks so cheap. It gives the Gophers from like Crystal Skull a run for its money, how some of the animals look in here. Like, at least in that, they're just kind of there for a few seconds and they're looking around like, huh? In this, there's these, like... 3D animated squirrels going up trees. There's this porcupine thing.
With, like, butterflies on it?
There
was, like, butterflies.
Yeah, there was butterflies on them. Like, you couldn't get a squirrel and film it going up a tree. Like, did they spend all the special effects money on the ice effects? Which weren't that bad.
Ice effects and Charlize Theron and Chris Hemsworth.
Yeah.
Them in the fucking movie.
And, like, the makeup effects on the dwarves.
Hey, that actually looked pretty good because, of course, like, Nick Frost isn't, really a little person. He's I thought they did that pretty good. It was
that looked like it did in the first movie.
Oh, okay.
The ice effects are cheesy, certainly, but they were kind of fun.
I liked that ice owl. I thought that was the best looking animal. Was the
glass ice owl.
I thought it was cute. I want one.
You can't. Chris Hemsworth killed it. He shattered that motherfucker. Not once did someone get their tongue stuck to ice in this movie.
That's what it needed. It needed a dwarf, like one of the dwarfs getting like their comic, like just a comic scene where he's like,
I was waiting for this movie to remind me a lot of Frozen. In the sense that you have the Freya the Ice Queen and shooting ice out, making this like, yeah, okay, like on its surface certainly, but given that she's like this psychopath through most of this movie.
Hey, she had her reasons. Her baby got charred. But she didn't let it go. That was horrible.
Don't worry, every review of this movie will probably be mentioning Elsa.
Yeah. I like this movie better than Frozen, so...
I liked Frozen better than I like this. I mean, I haven't seen it since it came out, but I gave it a positive review.
Well, I'm pretty sure it's okay. This isn't going to be a Frozen review, by the way, though. But, I mean, I don't know, it was okay, but I just didn't think that it was the best Disney movie ever made, like everybody praises it to be. No, it's not that.
I don't even know if I put it on my 10 best list at the end of the year, but I liked it a lot. Yeah, this one had no talking snowman. You easily could have dressed Nick Frost up as a snowman.
His last name's Frost and all.
Oh my... See, they just cast him as... Well, you have a very icy last name. Go for it. We're gonna put you in this scene. I honestly can't remember if he was in the first one or not. I think he was.
I remember people saying that he was in it because
Bob Hoskins was one of the dwarves.
Bob Hoskins? I thought he died like 10 years ago.
No, he only died like a year or two ago.
Oh wow.
God, who else played? I think Al Swearingen was one of them.
I thought those. I assumed that those two dwarves were in the original movie.
I couldn't remember when they first showed up because it's been 3 or 4 years since I saw it, like Liam Neeson did not remind me of this aspect of the movie, like which minor characters came from the first one or not. Liam Neeson, I really need your help right now. I will find you, and I will give you exposition. Thanks.
That's why I was like, no, I was like, oh, thank you. Now I know the exposition.
He's
I don't
back.
fucking see this movie.
Would you recommend this at all?
Sure. I mean, like I was telling you, I mean, it wasn't bad. It wasn't good. It was a movie. I mean, from not seeing the original, I mean, it's an alright movie.
It's a rental.
It's a rent. Yeah.
I would put it as a rental.
Definitely.
Because like, if you really like the first one, which I did, I mean, it's Chris Hemsworth is back doing his axe throwing shit, but you're gonna be really distracted by a lot of things. A lot of stuff like, wow, there was probably another script for this movie that existed that maybe felt more like a continuation of the first one. I'm almost done, Lloyd.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
It's all good. Oh, come in. Lloyd wants to give his final thoughts. By that, sleeping. Lloyd also says it's a rental. It's a rental. If you like the first one, rent it. If you didn't like the first one,
don't waste your time.
I don't know why you would watch this movie if you didn't like the first one. Unless you didn't see the first one just because it had Kristen Stewart in it.
Yeah, I was gonna say that I wanted to see it when it came out, I just never got around to it, and everyone's like, oh, you don't want to see it because Kristen Stewart's like, I don't mind. I mean, she's okay when she's not doing Twilight shit, so.
Yeah, just watch the first one, watch Willow, watch Crawl. Watch Lucio Fulci's Conquest. Deathstalker, yeah. Pop in Dragon Slayer or something.
I was gonna mention, remember, like, that one part when that woman dwarf was all like, back off, Ice Queen, and that one girl started, like, applauding. Do you remember?
No, I didn't. I checked out a few times of this movie. No, I missed the slow clap moment.
Yeah, I was like, really? Really?
So, next week is Keanu, and I can't remember what else. I'm mostly excited for Keanu. I'm pretty sure that's next week. See ya.